North of Pretoria in South Africa lies Marry-me. It's not on most maps, not officially. It's an informal settlement, a place where hope lives side by side with hardship. People came here looking for a better life, a chance to build something for themselves and their children. They built homes out of whatever they could find: corrugated iron, wood scraps, plastic sheeting. Life in Marry-me wasn't easy, but it was home. The night of March 22, 2025, started like many others in Marry-me. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue over the quiet neighborhood. Families were settling in for the evening, children playing in their yards, and the smell of dinner wafting through the air. It was a scene of tranquility, a picture of suburban peace. Darkness fell, and the community patrollers, ordinary people who volunteered to keep their neighbors safe, began their rounds. These were men and women who took it upon themselves to ensure the safety of their community, walking the streets with flashlights and radios, their presence a comforting sight for the residents. They were the shield against the thieves and thugs who preyed on the vulnerable. Their dedication was unwavering, their commitment to their neighbors a testament to the strength of the community. They knew the risks, but they also knew the importance of their role. But this night was different. The air was thick with an unspoken tension, a sense of foreboding that seemed to seep into every corner of the neighborhood. The usual sounds of the night were absent, replaced by an eerie silence that set everyone on edge. This night, evil came to Marry-me. Shadowy figures moved through the darkness, their intentions hidden but unmistakably sinister. The patrollers, ever vigilant, noticed the unusual activity and prepared themselves for what was to come. A group of community patrollers, the guardians of their neighborhood, encountered a group of men. These weren't petty thieves. The tension was palpable as the two groups faced off, the patrollers' hearts pounding in their chests. These were criminals, hardened and armed, their intentions dark. The glint of weapons in the dim light sent a chill down the spines of the patrollers. They knew they were outmatched, but they stood their ground, determined to protect their community. An argument, a confrontation, and then the night exploded in gunfire. The sound was deafening, shattering the silence, and sending shockwaves through the neighborhood. The patrollers took cover, their training kicking in as they tried to assess the situation. The sound of bullets ripped through the shacks, echoing the fear that now gripped Marry-me. The once peaceful neighborhood was now a war zone, the air thick with smoke and the cries of frightened residents. The patrollers, though outgunned, fought bravely, their resolve unbroken even in the face of such terror. This night would be remembered not just for the violence but for the courage and unity of a community that refused to be broken. 5 community patrollers, 5 fathers, sons, brothers lay dead. Shot down, some burned, their bodies a testament to the brutality that visited Marry-me. 7 more clung to life in the hospital, their families praying for miracles. These weren't soldiers, they weren't policemen, they were neighbors, watching out for neighbors, and they paid the ultimate price. The people of Marry-me woke to a nightmare. The news spread like wildfire. The names of the dead, the whispered stories of the attack, the fear that settled like a shroud over the community. The heart of Marry-me, once filled with a resilient hope, was broken. Section 4 Justice, slow and uncertain. The police came, sirens wailing, a somber chorus to the tragedy. They promised justice, vowed to hunt down the killers. 6 suspects were arrested, their faces splashed across newspapers and television screens. But in Marry-me, justice felt like a distant promise, a flickering candle in the wind. The community, reeling from the shock, demanded answers. Who were these killers? Why was such brutality unleashed on their protectors? The police spoke of gang violence, of turf wars and revenge. But for the families of the victims, the explanations rang hollow. Section 5, Living with the Gun. The tragedy of Marry-me is not an isolated incident, it's a story that echoes through the streets and alleys of South Africa, a narrative all too familiar to its people. It's a symptom of a larger disease plaguing South Africa, the scourge of gun violence. This violence leaves behind a trail of grief and loss, affecting families and communities deeply. Every day lives are lost, futures shattered by the echo of gunfire. The sound of a gunshot is more than just a noise, it's a harbinger of tragedy, a signal that another life has been irrevocably changed. From the Cape Flats to the streets of Johannesburg, the gun has become a grim symbol of fear and despair. It's a constant presence, a shadow that looms over daily life, instilling a sense of dread. Experts point to poverty, inequality, and the easy availability of illegal firearms as contributing factors. These issues create a fertile ground for violence where desperation and hopelessness can easily take root. They talk about the need for stricter gun control laws, for policies that can stem the flow of illegal weapons, but legislation alone is not enough. There's also a call for social programs to address the root causes of crime, initiatives that provide education, employment opportunities, and support for at-risk youth are crucial. But in Marry Me, these words feel like empty rhetoric. The community is left to grapple with the harsh reality of their daily lives, where promises of change seem distant and unattainable. Section 6. Can Marry Me heal? In the wake of the massacre, a fragile hope flickers. Community leaders, with the help of organizations like Sam Sokolo Security, are working to address the trauma and rebuild shattered lives. There are calls for more resources, for better street lighting, for more police patrols. But the healing will take time. The scars of that night run deep, a constant reminder of the fragility of life in Marry Me. The women who lost their husbands, the children who will never see their fathers again. Their pain is a testament to the human cost of this senseless violence. Section 7. Beyond Marry Me, a national crisis. The tragedy in Marry Me should be a wake-up call for South Africa. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the urgent need for change. The pain and suffering experienced by the families and friends of the victims are immeasurable, and their grief is a call to action for all of us. It's time to acknowledge the epidemic of gun violence, which has plagued our communities for far too long. This is not just a problem for the affected families, but a national crisis that demands our immediate attention and collective effort. We must confront it head-on with the urgency it deserves. This means coming together as a nation, across all divides, to address the root causes of this violence and to implement effective solutions. This means tackling the illegal gun trade, which fuels much of the violence in our communities. We need stronger laws and better enforcement to prevent these weapons from falling into the wrong hands. Investing in social upliftment programs is also crucial. By providing support and opportunities for those in need, we can address some of the underlying issues that contribute to violence. Creating opportunities for young people is essential. By engaging them in positive activities and providing them with a sense of purpose, we can steer them away from the path of violence. Rebuilding trust between communities and law enforcement is another critical step. This means fostering open communication, mutual respect, and collaboration to ensure that everyone feels safe and protected. Ensuring that justice is not only served but seen to be served is vital. This means holding perpetrators accountable and providing support for victims and their families. Honoring the memory of those lost in Marry Me and countless other communities is a solemn duty. We must remember their names and their stories and let their legacy drive us to create a safer future. By working towards a future where such tragedies are not the norm, we can build a society where everyone can live without fear. This vision requires dedication, compassion, and unwavering commitment from all of us. We must strive to make these tragedies a distant, tragic memory rather than a recurring nightmare. This is a long and challenging journey, but it is one we must undertake for the sake of our future generations. Until then, the cry of Marry Me will echo with both hope and heartbreak, serving as a constant reminder of the human cost of inaction. It is a call to each of us to do our part in making a difference. Let us not forget the lives lost and the families shattered. Let us honor their memory by committing to change, by standing together, and by ensuring that their deaths were not in vain. The time for action is now.